Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday, February 22nd, 2021. Welcome to the Day Weather Podcast. Thanks for tuning in and listening and watching today. Well, it's warmer but windy. Parts of Wyoming, parts of western Nebraska experiencing some really high winds, and this has caused blowing snow problems, and we're going to have blowing snow problems through early Tuesday. Interstate 80, pretty much impossible to get on Interstate 80 and be able to go anywhere, and I think that's going to be the case probably for most of today and into early tomorrow before we see the winds die down. Pacific weather systems are lined up to bring more mountain snow, occasional snow showers to the plains this week, and also, again this weekend, the long range is looking really busy, and it looks like March could be a stormy month. I think it'll start off stormy. Whether or not that continues the whole month, we'll see, but there's a lot on the table as we look ahead into March. Here is the webcam shot from early this morning near Arlington along Interstate 80, and you can see we've got 40 to 75 mile per hour winds. Snow that fell during the Arctic outbreak has not crusted up. It's blowing back and forth. You just can't see, and there's black ice. It'll be like that for most of the day today. That's what it looks like on I-80 this morning, and that's what it will look like on I-80 here for a while. This is why you can see very strong winds right along what we call the Wyoming wind corridor right here, as very strong jet stream winds aloft will make it very, very windy up to near the Wyoming border. You got a nice wind shadow down along the Denver Front Range areas right now. But this wind, some of this wind will get down here later in the day today. As we go forward, though, we'll see the winds decrease, but you can see why it's so windy. Here's today's upper level chart, the jet stream riding along and cutting right across. And so we got very strong jet stream winds. And we've got high pressure building in the Great Basin. Low pressure here, you got a pressure gradient, a big change in air pressure over time and distance, and you're going to get windy. Another thing is that, like death and taxes, one thing that's guaranteed when an Arctic air mass leaves the Continental Divide, you're always going to have a 1 or 2 day episode of high winds, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Now, as we go forward, we're going to see this little wave right here become a little bit more of a trough right there as we get into the eastern areas of Idaho by Wednesday morning. This system is going to swing through late Tuesday night and Wednesday. It's not going to become a large storm system, but it's going to bring another round of snow to the mountains, and it will bring some snow showers to the plains. In fact, this is what it looks like through Thursday afternoon. We're going to end up with a little bit of Colorado front range snow again. We're also going to see another round of good snow up in the mountains of northwestern Wyoming, up into Idaho, Montana, back into Washington and Oregon. Another good pattern for the mountains. Not a lot of snow on the plains, but watch those front range areas here as we get on into late Wednesday and into Wednesday night. Could have a little bit of snow. The snowpack continues to grow. Look at this. Snowpack now in the Snake River now above average. Above average now in the Yellowstone Plateau. The Tongue River, the Bighorn Basin almost at 100% of average. The Upper Green continues to grow, as well as the Upper North Platte, Little Snake. Now, this is the time of year it should start to snow more frequently, and it is. So you're probably going to see a percentage or two rise over time as we get into this pattern. But certainly, this is a much better snowpack scenario than we had, well, just 6 or 8 weeks ago. We got a long way to go in some of these drainages, but we're seeing improvement. We think that'll continue. Now, this is our next system. This comes in. This is for Saturday night. We have a low that wants to kind of come in and head to Southern California at first, and that is probably going to happen. But what happens after that is that as this low comes in, digs along the west coast, it might bring California and Nevada some rain and snow and some active weather. What may happen is that this low here, as it sits there in Southern California, is going to get kicked out by this one. When you have storms like this with this kind of spacing, this low will displace this low. What will happen is this will get a push northeastward as this system wants to come in like this. And this is something that is called Henry's rule, to where you're going to have one low displace the other. And this is exactly what happens. Now, this is Saturday night. This is Monday night looking forward. So what we end up having is that low gets kicked out to the northeast, and look where it goes. It basically takes a track right here. And this ends up becoming, right around Monday night and Tuesday of next week, a possible weather maker right here. We need to watch this. This would be a classic March situation. So early next week, we have a potential storm. Look at this guy behind it. It's coming in and it's replacing it. Look what's up here, another trough. So this trough will likely displace this trough as this one moves off to the northeast and into the Great Lakes. Voila! This is by next Thursday. We've got another storm system over southeastern Colorado, western Kansas right here with, look, another one coming in behind it. We call this a wave train, where you just have one low after another. And the kind of spacing would be about every 3 days, you're going to have something come through the western United States. So we'll put some question marks here, but I will tell you that this is exactly what you would expect to start off March if it's going to be stormy. It's also exactly what you'd expect with a lot of bitter cold air still hanging up in those northern regions like this. So March may have more lions than lambs, something we're going to keep an eye on for you. Wanted to give you a quick La Niña update. Late last week, the new prediction for La Niña and El Nino came out that looks all the way through December of this year. This is where we are right now. We're still firmly in that La Niña category, and all of these squiggly lines are all the different computer models right here that are trying to predict what the sea surface temperatures will do. This green line right here is the average of all the models. Notice it stays in La Niña territory all the way into October, November, and December, which is not good news. Because for the Rockies and the Western High Plains, this is a continuation of La Niña through the spring and summer, which means another dry and spring, summer on the whole. This prediction is actually a little bit more robust with the La Niña than the last prediction was. A couple models are showing us getting out of La Niña right here, but the majority keep those sea surface temperatures cold. Now I want to show you something. I'm going to go back to this slide here in a minute. The heat ocean content near this latitude right here, near the equatorial regions, is where we watch things. Look how cold and how deep the cold water is and has been really since going back to last spring. The Pacific heat content has been colder than average since April. And that's really when it started to turn drier here in the western United States. Look at the change in sea surface temperatures going back here recently. The sea surface temperatures where you see blue and purple is where the sea surface temperatures have really dropped. And a large part of the Pacific right here has really gotten colder. And also notice in the southern hemisphere. Now the southern hemisphere is in their summer. The southern hemisphere is also seeing a trend towards colder temperatures as well. There's been a big drop in global heat content in the oceans. So it's no surprise that the global temperatures as derived by satellites, not ground-based thermometers, but satellite-based thermometers, which is more accurate, has shown a steep drop in global temperatures since December. Now this is what we would call what the average temperature is going to be, or you look at a 30-year average of global temperatures. It'll be very interesting what our anomaly like is in February. Will it stay above zero or go below that 0 point? We'll have to see. But this has been a dramatic shift in ocean heat content. Now, it's no surprise that's happened because we're at a solar minimum with a strong La Niña. Strong solar minimums lead to more clouds, lead to a cooling trend, especially over the ocean basins. And if the ocean basins are colder, you're going to see temperatures across the globe drop, and that's exactly what's happened. That's why this La Niña has been so strong and so stubborn. It'll be something really interesting to watch going forward to see how long this La Niña lasts. When you have solar minimums and La Niñas, they tend to be droughty for the western United States. We're hoping that doesn't continue into 2021 through the growing season, but it looks likely that it will. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll update you on Tuesday. Have a good Monday.